What's up, you guys? It's Graham here, and I gotta say, this is absolutely crazy. Believe it or not, the market is now pricing in the chance of an upcoming rate hike for the first time in more than 3 years. This means the entire financial system is about to reprice, and no one's prepared for what's about to happen next. After all, starting now, mortgage rates have already begun going higher. Credit card debt becomes more expensive. Every single borrower gets squeezed, and the only people coming out ahead are those sitting in cash, getting paid higher interest while everyone else pays the price. That's why we have to urgently talk about exactly what just happened, the impact that higher interest rates are going to have throughout our economy, and then most importantly, what you're able to do about it. Because the next few weeks could really determine who's able to benefit from this new environment and who gets absolutely crushed. Although before we start, as usual, if you appreciate videos like this, it would mean the world to me. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Yes, I know it's annoying when I ask for it. I don't like asking for it, but it does help tremendously, and as a thank you for doing that, here's a picture of a pony. So thanks so much, and also big thank you to SoFi for sponsoring this video, but more on that later. Alright, so most importantly, let's get the basics out of the way and talk about rising interest rates. As a really quick background, for those unaware, the Federal Reserve raises interest rates in a way to help combat inflation, with the mindset that the higher those rates go, the more expensive it is to borrow, and the more expensive it is to borrow, the less people spend, and therefore the slower prices rise. Like, truth be told, what many people forget is that in very small doses, inflation is actually encouraged, and when it's under control, it could actually be a good thing. In fact, the United States has really done their best to maintain a safe, stable, and consistent inflation rate of 2 to 3% over the last 25 years. The problem, however, is when that inflation begins to grow out of control like we are beginning to see today. For example, oil prices recently surpassed $100 a barrel. Other countries have begun dumping U.S. Treasuries, pushing the long-term rates higher. And with inflation now returning in a way that almost no one thought was possible a year ago, the Federal Reserve is forced to step in, threaten higher interest rates, and almost crash the market in a way to rebuild stability. Which brings us to the very first impact of the stock market. On the most basic level, as interest rates increase, stock prices generally decrease because the higher cost of borrowing eats away at the value of future cash flow, and as a result, we see stock market valuations go down, kind of like what we saw in 2022. On top of that, the higher interest rates go, the more bond yields increase, and the less appealing everything else looks in comparison. After all, why take the risk in the stock market to maybe make 7%? When you could get a guaranteed return from the government at 5% with pretty much no risk whatsoever. However, in terms of how much this affects stock prices, here's what I actually found the most interesting. There's a study out there that broke down investors into two categories. One considered the choice between a risk-free return at 5% or a risky return at 10%, while the second group made the choice between a risk-free return of 1% or a risky return of 6%. Now, what's really unique about this is that in both scenarios, the risky investment pays the exact same 5% more, but the results were vastly different. And in terms of what they found, it was discovered that low risk-free returns cause significantly more risk-taking for higher-yielding investments, even though technically the difference in payout was the exact same. Or basically, the conclusion was just this: when risky investments offer substantially more compared to the risk-free rate of return, investors are more likely to go for it. Like in this case, the difference between earning 5% risk-free and 10% with a risk is double, but going from 1% to a 6% return is a 5 times difference. So when you view this in proportion, it makes the riskier investments seem a lot better than they actually are, which of course drives up the price. Reasonable, right? Well, even though this might hold true in the short term, and throughout history, stock prices have trended downwards as interest rates go higher. Believe it or not, since the 1960s, throughout rate increases and decreases, it was found that the stock market has continued to trend higher, regardless of what the Fed does. If we then take an even closer look since 2017, even as the Federal Reserve increased interest rates, the market defied the odds and just kept going higher. On top of that, the relationship is even more apparent when you look at what's called real rates, which is the current interest rate minus inflation. And in this case, BlackRock explains that higher real rates could actually be positive for stock prices, causing them to increase. Now, in terms of why this happens, It's found that we usually see higher stock market returns, even with higher interest rates, because higher interest rates usually coincide with a really strong economy and a lot of expansion. Separately, the negative outcomes are usually the result of a recession or a similar economic shock, but it's not the interest rate increase themselves, if that makes sense. Or for all of you who just want to know, Graham, how much money could I make in the next 6 to 12 months? And according to the data, 76% of the time, stocks increase by an average of 6.2%, and in the following 12 months, they increase by an average of 14.3%, 81% of the time. This means that even though we could see a lot of short-term volatility and prices could fall, this isn't the, oh my gosh, we gotta sell everything moment that some people want to make it out to be. Especially because if we do see a stock market decline, history shows that it's usually about 7 to 12% give or take, which isn't that bad. So in terms of what we're likely to see going forward, the impact this is realistically going to have on the rest of the market, including housing prices, and then how you could make sure you don't become collateral damage, here's what you came for, because the other data is quite surprising. Although before we go into that, it's important to recognize that building wealth isn't just looking back at what's happened in the past. It's also about paying attention to how the financial landscape is changing, and few areas are evolving as fast as cryptocurrency. Without exaggeration, there are so many new potential opportunities on the horizon, but getting started could often feel overwhelming and complicated. And with so many platforms out there to pick from, it could be hard to know where to even get started. But that's where our sponsor, SoFi, is there to help. In fact, from now until August 27th, you'll be able to earn up to $1,000 in your choice of crypto. But more details on that shortly. For those unaware, SoFi is the first nationally chartered bank where you could buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrency all from within one simple app. This means instead of just throwing your money in a random spot and hoping for the best, SoFi gives you a federally regulated platform with all the safeguards of a bank. They even give you in-app guidance to help you learn as you go, so you can better understand what you are doing before you make any decisions. Not to mention, I love how they allow you to buy and sell cryptocurrency from within the same SoFi app as the rest of your finances. This means you could manage your cryptocurrency right alongside with your SoFi checking, savings, and investments without jumping between platforms. Of course, crypto is inherently risky, and you gotta make sure it makes sense for your financial situation before investing. But if you're ready to explore crypto with SoFi, a nationally chartered bank, give it a shot at sofi.com/Graham or click the link down below in the description to learn more and get started. Plus, like I said, new customers will be able to earn up to $1,000 in their choice of Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Solana. All the information is in the link down below in the description. Thank you so much, and now let's get back to the video. All right, so in terms of what's happening, the impact that higher interest rates are about to have throughout our entire economy, and then most importantly, what you could do about it, there is one more market that will get hit incredibly hard, and that would be housing prices. For those unaware, over the last few years, mortgage rates have nearly tripled, going from 2.8% at their low to as high as 7%. And as of now, we're sitting on some of the highest mortgage rates we have seen since the mid-2000s, and the highest rates in the last year. Like, consider this. If you got a mortgage 5 years ago in 2021, a $300,000 loan would cost you $1,265 a month at a 3% interest rate. But today, that exact same loan would cost you $1,900 a month at a 6.5% interest rate. All of that is to say that generally, the higher interest rates go, the more expensive it is to finance a property, the more buyers get priced out, and the less likely sellers are to move. And the data backs this up. Like, just recently, it was reported that home sales are slowing due to rising costs. Although even though this might sound like home prices are finally coming down, this is the moment. Nope, they are not. In this case, rising interest rates are usually associated with a fairly strong and resilient economy. And that means that home prices in those markets continue going higher. In fact, there have only ever been a handful of times in history that mortgage rates went up and housing prices went down. Even with a lag effect, the correlation between the two is almost non-existent. If anything, inflation and economic conditions affect the housing market significantly more than interest rates do. If anything, higher interest rates do slow housing activity, but it doesn't crush prices. This means for sellers and homeowners, even though rising interest rates makes your home a lot more expensive to purchase, it doesn't decline in value proportionally. But for the buyers, yes, this does mean that purchasing a property this year is going to cost you a little more. And even though mortgage rates aren't directly tied to what the Federal Reserve does, there is some sort of an impact, and that does mean your payments are probably going higher. So in terms of what's happening, what this means for you, and who's going to get hit the hardest, besides Leopold, here's what you came for: rate hikes. As of today, the market's pricing in more than a 40% chance that on September 16th, we see a 25 basis point rate hike, as indicated by several Federal Reserve Board members who already voted in favor of the increase. Why? Well, from their perspective, inflation isn't going away. Employment's still pretty strong, and the market's frothy, so it could handle a rate increase right now. And if asset prices fall in the process, then so be it. In fact, the market's already begun implementing higher interest rates today without the Federal Reserve even voting on anything. And that's where things get very interesting. See, on a very basic level, the Federal Reserve only controls short-term borrowing, or basically what banks charge other banks anytime they lend each other money. But longer-term rates, I'm talking the ones that impact mortgages, corporate borrowing, the general economy, and stock market valuations, are largely determined by the bond market with supply and demand. And those interest rates have been going up significantly over these last few weeks. On top of that, other countries have begun selling their US holdings as a way to raise extra capital, pushing those interest rates even further than expected. This means that the Federal Reserve didn't technically have to raise interest rates to accomplish their objective. The bond market effectively did it for them and pushed interest rates, putting downward pressure on everything else without the Federal Reserve really doing a single thing. Now, in some ways, this is even more concerning because this shows that investors do not believe the Federal Reserve is doing enough to accomplish lowering inflation. And if this is happening today, that also means it's probably not the end of it. That's why, in terms of the biggest winners and losers from this, as well as my own thoughts about what's going on, let's start with the losers. The fact is, higher interest rates don't affect everyone equally, and the people who are probably going to have the worst time are anyone with variable rate debt. This might include short-term mortgages, open lines of credit, personal loans. If it's not locked in, your payment could go up significantly without any warning whatsoever. That then leads us to the second loser, and that would be the United States government. In all seriousness, the single most leveraged borrower on the planet is not a hedge fund, it's not a person, it's Washington. We're sitting on almost $40 trillion worth of national debt, and interest payments alone are projected to hit $1 trillion this year, which is more, by the way, than we spend on Medicare, national defense, and it's the second largest line item on the entire budget. On top of that, all of the debt that was locked in between 0 to 1% 5 years ago is now coming up for renewal in 2026 when interest rates are substantially higher, which means the government is probably going to have to print a lot more money. And finally, the loser number 3 is probably anyone who's looking for a job in the next few months. The reality is, rising interest rates at the same time that the labor market is cooling usually results in hiring freezes. There's not usually mass layoffs, it's just nothing. This typically doesn't show up in headlines because there's no report to show that they just didn't hire anyone that month. But there are some winners with this, with the first winner coming out as anyone sitting in cash. Right now, there are so many great high-yield savings accounts that pay you a pretty significant amount of money compared with a few years ago. And that means anyone who has extra cash that's sitting there, you could be earning a lot more money than you did in the past. The second winner of this is anyone who's locked in a low interest rate mortgage. Really, for the last few years, everyone's called this the golden handcuffs, like it was a prison or something. And yes, it is going to be more expensive if you pick up and move and buy something else with a new mortgage, but I also believe it is one of the best assets just to keep on the books. Because if you're fixed for the next 25 years at an interest rate below 3.5% to 4%, you're sitting in a perfect spot right now while inflation eats away at the balance of the loan. And finally, number 3, the biggest winner could be just anyone watching. Even though it's certainly going to take some time, high inflation and rising costs are not a sign of a healthy, balanced economy. And if higher interest rates are able to reduce that growing cost, eventually markets should begin to normalize, which I'm hoping would benefit most people out there. I think as hard as it is to say, we really need a complete market reset to balance things out that are just insanely overpriced and overvalued. And maybe this could be a way to get everything back on track in a way that's just a lot more sustainable. But then again, I'm just a random dude on YouTube who has no idea what I am talking about. So if you agree or disagree, let me know down below in the comment section. As always, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want early access to videos just like this, as well as an extra video every week that I don't post publicly, feel free to join as a channel member. And in addition to that, I also respond to practically every single one of your member comments. I get them as a notification on my phone, and I'm also doing member financial audits. So if you want to send me your finances, there's links for all the members there. You can send it to me. I'll look through it, and if it looks juicy enough, I'm going to react to it. So if you want me to roast your finances, that's another way to do it. Thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoy, and until next time.